Reptile dysfunction, real or not real?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the show, people. Welcome to the show.
Eat my shorts.
So here is to conversation.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Welcome to the Cash Exchange, everyone.
Hello out there from the podcast world.
To those of you listening, wondering if my co-host has changed the timbre of his voice just a little bit, this is Nate the Great, my guest co-host for today. All right, do you want to know what your 3 things for today are?
Let's do it. What we got?
All right, so your 3 things for today are gas station hot dogs, the moon, and Disney's Frozen.
Sounds like a bad date night. Let's see. What could that be?
How is the moon involved in a bad date night?
Well, like if you're eating gas station hot dogs under the moon while watching Frozen? No, that might actually be a pretty cool date night, I guess, if you're, one of those Disney adults.
Hey, one of the first times that we hung out, we watched Frozen, so I'm going to need you to dial that attitude back a little bit.
That's fair. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, gas station hot dogs they come in handy, come in clutch whenever you need a little greasy bun. I don't know what food and Frozen would have to do with each other, and the moon is just out of reach. I don't know.
All right, you throwing in the towel?
Yes, I'll throw in the towel. What do you got today? What's our objective?
So your through line between gas station hot dogs, the moon, and Disney's Frozen is they're all things of questionable origin.
Questionable origin.
And that leads us into our topic for today, conspiracy theories.
It's my most favorite topic.
Break out those tinfoil hats. It's our favorite topic.
It's the most favorite topic to talk about. I'm so happy I'm here for this episode.
I will say, just going into this episode, that this is a thing that we talk about probably too frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing research for it, it was a little bit tough to think of the things that we haven't talked as much about, at least. But I think I got a couple good ones.
All right. Well, you want to break it out? You want to hit me with the first one?
All right. So the first one that I have is one that is not necessarily near and dear to my heart, but it's one that I think about a decent amount, especially now.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the dead internet theory.
Oh.
I have been especially cognizant of the amount of time that I spend on my phone. I recently switched to a flip phone, and I've been kind of going back and forth trying to mitigate my screen time because I'm basically like an unchecked toddler if you leave me alone with my phone.
Yeah.
Not helpful to anything, especially not my productivity or my attention span.
Yep.
Which is why the dead internet theory is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, someone should probably tell my brother about the dead internet theory. Maybe then he'll put his phone down.
I don't necessarily think it's a deal breaker for most people. For the uninitiated, the dead internet theory came to be in 2021 on, I think it was 4chan. I would hope that it wasn't 4chan because I don't want to shout them out for anything.
Go 4chan!
Uh-huh. So it was popularized in 2021 on a site which must not be named.
Mm-hmm.
And it essentially suggests that since 2016, 2017, there was this influx of things that came to be on the internet. And since then, more and more of what we see in our day-to-day lives on the internet is not actual people. We're not interacting with other human beings, but rather just bots and sock puppets.
Yep.
I learned what a sock puppet was today in doing my little last minute last minute research.
Uh-huh.
So sock puppets are similar to bots, where they're an account that's a little bit wrong. But the difference is that a bot is completely done by artificial intelligence, whereas a sock puppet is typically a person. Sock puppets are, from what I understand, generally a little bit more malicious. So it's trying to manipulate an algorithm or to deceive people, things like that.
Okay.
So I think it would be like a person operating under like how Trump's Twitter is like the Donald Trump or something like that. And so it would be like the person running the @DJT on X, Truth Social. I don't know. One of the platforms that I don't use.
Of course.
So that would be a sock puppet because they're trying to kind of manipulate the system by acting as an actual person under a wrong name or with an ill intent.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've never heard of the sock puppet before. I'll have to look into that one. I have heard of the bot farms. I have seen the pictures of 100 iPhones plastered onto a particle board that just run nonstop, uploading, downloading, liking.
One of the funniest things to me about this theory that both lends it absolutely no credence and feels pretty accurate is that the onset of the dead internet theory was because of the death of Harambe in 2016.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think it was just one of the first things that went viral in a different way from like the cat videos on YouTube and stuff. And it just caused every corner of the internet to come together, and it broke us as a society.
Yeah.
I don't think anything has been the same since 2016. It's just been a downhill slide, man.
Since 2016, that's when it started.
It's just been getting weirder and weirder.
9 years. For me, I guess I started paying attention to all of this stuff come 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
That's when all the dead internet theories and all that stuff started to make itself apparent to me. It is very interesting, though. I mean, a lot of the times, if you just sit on your phone and you doom scroll for hours on end, you're gonna come across a lot of videos that are the same, but edited differently, have different taglines to them. This guy's jumping off a bridge. This guy fell off a bridge. This guy was pushed off a bridge. And it's all the same video.
One of the big points in favor of the dead internet theory, or the like argument that a lot of people make, is that there's no more like randomness online, that everything feels a little bit too specific to be just this vacuous space of 7 billion people.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Algorithm's good.
But that's also kind of the argument for or against dead internet theory, is that there's no more randomness because they have created math that tells us exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you saw a video of a guy on a bridge and you watched that entire thing, you liked it, you subscribed to the dude, whatever. So it's going to show you 17 more of them because it thinks that's what you like.
Joke's on you. I don't like and subscribe. My phone just 100% sees me watching the videos, and I start to get smiles on my face, and it's like, yeah, he likes that one.
You're an internet creep.
Jesus, that sounds horrible.
It's Caden and I were talking about it the other day, and I don't remember what he referred to his internet usage as, because it was like, it's the people that are on the internet but don't post things, don't like and subscribe and interact and stuff. There was a name for it. I don't remember what it was.
I'd be curious to hear that, because I never like videos. I don't do any of that stuff. Or like all the famous Twitch streamers and stuff, they're getting hundreds of dollars from people tossing them money to watch them play video games. I'm just not about that life.
Man, if I could just get paid to play video games.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'd be rich.
That would be the dream. That would be the dream.
I play video games for at least 14 hours out of the day.
Sound off in the comments on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I apologize to my general co-host. I don't remember if we are Cash Exchange Podcast or Cash Exchange Pod on all of those platforms, but we're one of them. Look us up.
I'm one of them.
Anyway, sound off in the comments and let me know if you would be interested in watching a video of a person who's very easily jump scared play just jump scare horror. I would raise my blood pressure for you.
She would. She really would. I know I'd get a kick out of it.
All right, so final verdict. Dead internet theory. Do you believe in it or is it fake?
For me personally, I definitely believe in it. Anytime I hop on the internet, most of the stuff that I find, it's not from actual people who are uploading videos. They're from weird at underscore slash dash here, blah, 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 weird names that don't make sense. And then you go and click on their profiles and there's nothing really there. There's no bio. There's no description of them. It's just uploading hundreds of videos a day. And normal people who have a 9-to-5 job, I'd assume you're not uploading 100 videos a day. But then again, who knows?
Alternatively, I've seen 1,000 different clickbaity headlines that say that all of Gen Z is turning into NEETs, which is not in employment, education, or training.
Something like that, yeah.
Which is basically a very extensive way of saying that Gen Z are scrubs. Just a whole generation of scrubs.
You heard it here first, folks. Bunch of scrubs.
A bunch of scrubs.
No, I think they were just given horrible opportunities. They weren't given opportunities like when our predecessors were growing up. Gen Z is growing up in a world that is completely against them. Everything they're trying to learn or be, and they're also learning from us. They're not falling into line like we did.
The biggest conspiracy theory of the episode, y'all, the American dream.
Mic drop.
All right, hit us with one. What's your first conspiracy?
Ooh, I don't know which one's funnier. I say we start off with something like the moon hoax. The moon isn't real. Or is it real? Or is it an extra planet? Or is it a space base? The world may never know. It's not Swiss cheese, I'll tell you that much.
There's a million different ways we could go with this. Are we talking about, does the moon exist? Is the moon hollow or Swiss cheese? Are we talking, did we land on it? Did we go to the moon?
It's all kind of up in the air, don't you think? Did we actually go to the moon? Anytime you try and question Buzz Aldrin about things, he just gets very hostile. He's not a very nice man to talk to, apparently.
Okay, first of all, if you did one of the most momentous things in human history, you're 50 years removed from the situation and people are still asking if it happened, I'd be a little cranky too.
Yeah, probably don't want to talk to the younger generation who are just coming up to you going, is that Swiss cheese up there?
You think it's the younger generation?
Oh, no.
Those tinfoil hats were born decades before the two of us.
Okay. Who knows? Who knows?
Every Kubrick superfan.
Yeah. What about the dark side of the moon? You always hear people talking about it, but nobody goes over there. It's like, come on, guys, just flip the pie over and land on the dark side. I don't see what the big deal is.
Goodness gracious.
I'm not an astrophysicist, but I think it's doable. Just fire the rocket when the moon is turning and then we hit the dark side, right?
Hey, like, why couldn't we land on the sun? Couldn't we just, like, wait to go until it's nighttime?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Glad we're on the same page. So if we are doing moon theories, just in general, I'm just going to break it down into a couple things. We can play a little real or fake. Maybe dive into a few of those things.
Oh, yes.
Do you believe we landed on the moon?
Do I personally believe that we landed on the moon?
Personally, do you believe we landed on the moon?
Just needed my tinfoil hat for this one. I don't think that we landed on the moon.
Okay.
But I also do think that we landed on the moon. I'm cut right in the middle. You have people that say maybe we did, maybe we didn't. During the Cold War, when we were hitting that moon, there was a lot at stake. So maybe we did. Maybe we're just really good at making films. Hollywood.
Okay.
Who knows? Why is it on the moon and you have a flag waving? Flags don't wave. It's a vacuum. That thing doesn't go nowhere.
Okay. So both yes and no. We did and didn't land on the moon. Schrodinger's moon. Understood.
Schrodinger's moon. The possibility that we get through the Van Allen belt, there's only a sliver of a chance that you can actually make it through without being just annihilated by radiation. Maybe we were just smarter back in the 60s. Who knows? Or 50s, whenever we went to the moon. I don't know. I'm a 90s kid.
You're killing it. I believe that we landed on the moon. That said, I don't know that I believe that Neil Armstrong, like what we see of the moon landing, was not fake. I do very much believe that we landed on the moon, but I do also think because of where we were at politically that we maybe needed to beef up the way that we looked. And so I think that it would have made sense to create the kind of patriotism that comes from we did something absolutely incredible as a country and we landed on the moon.
I get that. So we did land on the moon, but we weren't able to show people we landed on the moon. So we had to create us landing on the moon.
Correct.
That's interesting.
I do think that we landed on the moon, but I don't think that what we know of that experience was what actually happened.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people that say it's hard to believe. Who knows? A lot of people who work every day with cameras and film and production and all that stuff, they don't believe that what we filmed was accurate. How did you get the cameras out there? How were they able to record in a vacuum? Most time cameras won't operate in this type of density or something.
To be fair, though, I think there's always going to be some level of bewilderment to us landing on anything that's not on Earth.
Sure.
Like we have the Mars rover. Elon Musk has his plans to go to Mars. There's all of these, like, there's another space race happening right now. And I think that it always seems a little bit like nonsense because it seems so far away that it's just, it just feels
so far out of our reach.
Impossible. It feels very far out of our reach, yes.
It really does. And then why haven't we been back in the last 70, 80 years? You made it once, why not try it again? I don't know.
It's a good question.
That is a good one.
All right. So I am pro we landed on the moon. You're somewhere in the middle on we landed on the moon. We might have landed on the moon.
Might have landed on the moon.
You believe in Schrodinger's moon.
If you open the box, we didn't land. If you keep the box closed, we might have landed.
Sure, yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. So in that case, the moon itself. What do you believe it is? This isn't really a real or fake because it is. I don't know what it is, but it is.
It's not Swiss cheese, I'll tell you that much. I've felt the moon rocks that fall down here. They're hard. You can't eat them.
You've what?
You know, the little moon rocks that fall out of the sky. And no? You've never caught a moon rock before?
Are we talking about Joe Dirt? Have you just been keeping a little piece of airplane poo with you? What do you mean moon rocks?
That's yet to be discovered. I haven't had the moon rock tested, so it might just be a fecal sample. Who knows? Who knows?
My boyfriend, ladies and gentlemen, has a pet chunk of space poo.
Space poo! That's on my counter. I don't know. I mean, there's talk that, like, the Nazis had a secret base in Antarctica, so I'm getting the feeling we got a space base. You know what I mean? I think there's people up on the moon. They're watching stuff. They're sending a couple earthquakes our way if we need it. A couple tidal waves.
They're sending earthquakes?
Yeah, you know, they send signals down and cracks up the earth. Tsunamis come, flushes people away, and they sit up in their space base.
You know what?
Is a base.
Hell yeah.
I think it's a base. I think aliens inhabit the other side of the moon, the dark side, if you will, and just keeping an eye on us, making sure we're not doing any no good dudery. Know what I mean?
No good dudery.
So that's my take on the moon.
Okay.
It might be real. It might not.
Are you questioning whether or not the moon exists?
You want to go to the next level of conspiracies?
You can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. I can also see videos on my phone, and a lot of the times those things aren't real. Perception, babe. Who knows?
No.
Just because you see it doesn't mean it's real. Our eyes deceive us.
Realize. Jaden Smith. I'm sorry, I need a minute to process that you might not believe that the moon is real. It's not the same as you seeing the moon through your phone.
It's daylight outside. I don't see no moon. What, when the sun comes out, they just throw a big blanket over the moon or something? I don't believe it. I'm totally kidding. Put yourself back together. I see the gears grinding in the brain. I believe that the moon is real.
Oh, thank God.
There's more behind what the moon might be. People say, well, it controls the ocean's tides and does all that stuff. And sure, but I think there's something else. There's more. There's more behind that moon. Get it? Behind the moon? So that's the moon. You got anything more to add on to the moon?
My theory about the moon. First of all, it does exist. It's important to me that I say that. That's not my theory on it. It does exist. That said, my favorite theory about the moon's origin is that it's actually a spaceship that just got stuck in our orbit and then collected a bunch of debris, space dust.
So it's the Death Star.
Essentially, yes.
Oh, space-based.
There's a lot of interesting things when you look into like the hollow moon theory.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look into the hollow moon theory, a lot of it would kind of suggest things that make sense if it were a spaceship or some kind of craft that got stuck in our airspace or in our orbit. So I don't pretend to know enough to have a conclusive theory on what brought about the moon, but the one that I have the most fun with and the one that I'm absolutely sticking to, spaceship.
Spaceship. All right. You got spaceship, you got space base. There's people up there. Suck it, Elon Musk.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if there are people on the moon, but there's something.
Well, define people. Maybe there's reptiles up there.
I think that might be a little bit too granular to get into. This podcast is not an all-nighter.
No, not trying to hit the 4-hour mark?
You know, we probably could in different situations.
But God, people having to listen to us ramble on for 4 hours? Not a chance.
Our little NSA listener is probably having the time of their life when we have talks on the phone.
100%. They hear a lot of hoopla.
Whole lot of hoopla. All right, I think that was all I had for the moon. Did we land on it, and what is it?
That's all I got, yeah. These are the questions we need to be asking. These are the questions we need at the forefront next time we do election year. What is on the moon? Did we land on the moon? What's up with the moon?
We were already told that we were going to get stuff about the aliens. Let's maybe leave it there and try to fix some of the problems on Earth before we start figuring out what's further out.
No, we're Americans. Just slash and burn, babe. If this world doesn't work, nuke it and move to the next one. There is conspiracies behind that's what happened on Mars. There's a lot of nuclear radiation up there. And they believe, maybe that was Earth 1. And we just blew it up and then flew over to Earth 2.
If Mars was the OG civilization and Earth is just 2.0 or whatever, I don't in any way, shape, or form believe that Mars was the first. That's planet 500 at this point. We just keep moving.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. All right. So what do you got next? What's your next conspiracy? Hit me.
My next one is one of the goofier theories that I have, and that would be Disney's frozen head.
This is a good one.
This is a good one. This is one of my favorite ones because I love a good, Hollywood conspiracy theory that doesn't involve incredible amounts of depressing things.
Yeah.
I love a fun conspiracy theory, and there is nothing more fun of a conspiracy theory than the idea that Walt Disney died and wanted himself cryogenically frozen. His head may or may not, but is definitely not on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Do you believe that Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen? Bear in mind, he did die in the 1960s. So, technologically speaking...
Were we even there in the 1960s? Were we able to cryogenically freeze people?
We made it to the moon.
Sure. We're also talking about Walt Disney, the man with astronomical amounts of wealth, who he could probably have scientists and pay them just to study this. Maybe he is frozen. I don't know what he wants to do. Is he going to pop up in 2035? He's going to hop out of that thing and just hate what the world turned into, and he's going to go right back in the hole.
So you're in the middle on this one too? You think there might be a chance that he's frozen?
Nah, no more maybes. I'm gonna say there might be a chance that he is frozen.
That's still a maybe.
He is frozen.
There we go. Is he on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
I've never been to Disney World.
Neither have I.
No. No?
So he is frozen, is not on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
No, he's underneath Disney World in their laboratory. They have him hooked up to machines. He is like the AI of Disney World. He's just controlling everything through a computer in his own mind. Kind of like that Johnny Depp movie.
Did not enjoy that movie. Transcendence.
I liked it. It was pretty cool. Then again, I like Johnny Depp. Anything he plays in.
Would not go that far.
Except for, what was it? Monarchy? No. Mordecai. That one. Didn't really care for that one. That one was, you could throw it back into the shoebox.
Did you ever watch Dark Shadows?
Oh, yeah. Dark Shadows is cool.
Yeah.
It was the vampire. Wasn't it a kid's movie?
It was, sort of.
PG-13 or something.
Yeah. Did not care for that one.
No. Well, hit or miss.
I don't believe that Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen, but I think it would be really cool if he were.
And why do you think that?
I mean, I guess technically it's a little bit hit or miss if he were cryogenically frozen for the same reason that Marilyn Monroe and James Dean going back into the public domain fairly soon is not a good look for the future of film. But I think it would be cool if we had the kind of technology that would afford essentially a pause in your life.
Come back 40 years from now, try it again.
Like the theory stands that he was dying, and so he froze himself until there was a cure for what he had. I don't remember, unfortunately, what the condition was. Like, I don't know what he died from, but the theory states that he wanted to freeze himself until there was a cure for it, which I think is interesting. I think that's a fascinating little bit of sci-fi if it were true.
Sure.
I don't believe that it is, again, but it would be interesting.
So you're on the nay side of if he was frozen and or not.
I am indeed.
Ooh.
When it comes to Disney's head, real or fake, I am going fake.
She's got thumbs down. All right.
Thumbs down.
You know, and that's funny because I actually have a conspiracy that is very similar into this one, just a little bit different.
Ooh. Okay, what do you got?
So this is something I was reading up on yesterday, and it's a conspiracy based around the movie Frozen, and that people at Disney created the movie Frozen as a distraction, in a way to hack Google's algorithm and distract consumers. Everybody was always trying to Google Walt Disney frozen, Walt Disney cryogenically frozen, all these things. They were sick and tired of all that traffic. Create the movie Frozen. Now, anytime you want to Google Walt Disney Frozen, that's going to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Just another little wacky, little kooky one to throw in the mix.
I would believe that one if it weren't for the fact that they had a long string of things where it was just like single adjectives. So like they had a run where their movies were like Tangled and Frozen and Brave.
Mm-hmm.
If they had been a little bit more creative and done all of like The Princess and the Frog, Beauty and the Beast, and then there was just like Frozen, then yes, I would absolutely stand by the fact that they made that movie, or they named it at least, to get people off the scent.
Yeah, I thought you might like that one. Anytime Walt Disney's name pops up, it's always something interesting is bound to be said or heard.
Yeah, unless it is the 50th live action remake of a movie we've already seen.
Quit rehashing old rehashes. Let it die, make something new.
We could totally also have made our guest host episode the prequels, sequels, and reboots. It is one of my biggest grievances in media today is the fact that I could not tell you the last time we watched an original thing in theaters that wasn't the 15th of its kind. There are about to be 11 Fast and Furiouses. There are 11 Fast and Furiouses if you count Hobbs and Shaw.
No, that one doesn't count. That's not Fast and the Furious.
All right. You got another one?
I have several.
Hit me.
Where to begin? I don't know. Which one would be... I'm trying to contemplate what's a good talking subject. Reptiles run the U.S. government is interesting. Atrazine in the water, turning the frogs gay. That's always going to be a good one to touch on. The look on your face kind of tells me we should probably talk about the atrazine. Or your internet died. Is she frozen? Oh, nope, she moved.
I'm mentally on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Wee. Joe Rogan is a CIA plant. I mean, this can really just go any direction.
On principle, I feel it necessary to say I don't feel like weighing in on anything that Alex Jones made a platform on.
He's been right about most things. Let's give credit where credit is due, you know what I mean?
I will not. He has not. What?
The Sandy Hook one? Yeah, he kind of messed that one up. Sandy Hook that wasn't good. He was in a bad place at that time, though. He was drinking a lot.
You lost me at Alex Jones was right about most things.
But the other ones...
What was he right about?
He was right about atrazine being in the water and turning the frogs gay, wasn't he? I love saying things and watching your head blow up.
Theoretically, there's a little bit of credence to the frog thing. That is the most credit I will ever give Alex Jones.
Turn the Frogs guy. So by tomorrow, I'm going to have the full deep dive printed out, ready to go with all the facts, and I'll send it over to you. And then you can maybe see that he was right about some things, possibly. I don't know.
No. If you want me to read about this nonsense and learn your perspective on the situation, I expect you to come to Austin with a bulletin board, some red string, and a whole bunch of index cards.
Yeah, I'll even have them color-coded. Green being absolutely like, this is probably true, and then all the way to red, and it's like, yeah, this probably wasn't true. Sandy Hook is a red card.
If you don't look like that Charlie Day meme, I'm not listening.
It's not going to work? Okay.
The water is turning the frickin' frogs, gay.
All right. We'll stay away from the Alex Jones ones. Those are a little too hit or miss.
Oh, God. There are plural?
Oh, there's many. One of my most favorite ones to think about nowadays, though, is the fact that we might be living in a simulation theory. We might be living in the Matrix.
I have that one, too.
Great minds think alike.
What is tell us more about the simulation theory?
Well, for those of you who don't watch a whole bunch of conspiracy videos on YouTube like I do, deep diving into the night.
What is it like to be well-adjusted?
What is it like to be well-adjusted, people? What do you do at nighttime? Do you leave your phone in a different room? Do you read a book to go to bed? Well, I don't. I binge videos until about midnight, and I'm fine. I'm fine.
You can almost hear the eye twitches.
Simulation theory. So simulation theory is the thought that we are basically living inside a giant computer. For those of you who might have watched Rick and Morty, we could very well just be a battery in a car. And we're powering the battery. Hundreds of millions of people charging power in a battery. That could be us. I forgot who said it. Wasn't it Elon Musk? Elon Musk said that there's more of a percentage that we are living in a simulation than not.
Sure.
I don't know what that means. They say they look at code. I don't know how you look at code in the world, but I'm a chef. That's not for me to know.
There's a lot of things in the world that we understand that work in binary. And I think that's a lot of where simulation theory comes from, is the idea that like so much of our existence can be broken down into ones and zeros, which is the entire basis of every computer program. Every little bit of software is built on code. Everything in the actual matrix is just code.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't there talk that in terms of quantum computing as well, you try to calculate certain problems and it doesn't work or it takes too long? But when you use quantum computing, there's thought that it's pulling in all these different answers and resources from different universes. And that's how we get answers super quick. A multiverse theory, if you will.
Okay, so quick little aside. Do you believe in the multiverse? Real or fake?
Being put on the spot here. You know what? I believe in simulation theory.
I'm an unequivocal yes on the multiverse. I absolutely believe there are other universes.
Yeah. There's one Nate, but there's 1,000 Nates in all the other universes. We can band together and be one giant dum-dum.
I need you to watch Everything Everywhere all at once. It's got to be the next on your to-watch list. We'll watch it together if we need to.
I've been meaning to watch it because it is streamable right now.
It is indeed. One of the points in the favor of the simulation theory or the multiverse theory, which I think is fascinating, is the Mandela effect.
That's another good one.
You know what the Mandela effect is, right?
You mean the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears? Or the Berenstain Bears?
Again, for the uninitiated, the Mandela effect is essentially a thing that people collectively remember in one specific way that there's all of a sudden no proof of. So the idea that the fruit in Fruit Loops was spelled like the actual noun, but actually Fruit Loops is F-R-O-O-T, not U-I. To be fair, I've always thought that it was F-R-O-O. Like that one's not a Mandela effect that I am on the wrong side of, I suppose. Or like the cornucopia and the Hanes logo. I absolutely remember that.
Yeah, I used to wear Hanes. I can back this up. I remember cornucopia being on my boxers.
You remember the cornucopia?
I do.
Part of the idea of the multiverse or simulation theory and its like actual practice with our day-to-day lives is that there's little bits of variation in the code which creates almost identical things with little bitty differences. Mm-hmm. So Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, I used to read all those books too when I was younger.
I did too.
And I want to say they were Berenstain Bears. I don't know. Too tricky. I love talking about simulation theory. Or multiverse theory, for that matter.
I do too.
The thought of there being other things out there, things happening all at the same time, it makes your everyday life feel not so bad. It could be worse, or it could be better.
One of the interesting things about simulation theory is that if we are all just essentially code, then there is a way to more or less hack your existence to create the life that you want, which I think is a very interesting. I don't know if it's woo-woo because it feels real techie to be woo-woo nonsense, but a lot of the manifestation kind of mindset or like biohacking and stuff seems like it's just a way to use simulation theory to your advantage.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. I think that's a very cool thing to be capable of if you happen to believe in all of that.
I do like the thought of manifestation, yeah. Think good, want good things for yourself to happen, and through proper manifestation, you can have everything that you want.
Do good things and good things happen. Straight from Carson Daly's mouth to my morphine-laced ears.
You tell him, girl.
Do you know what the allegory of the cave is?
I do not. Never heard of that.
So the allegory of the cave was a book that was written by Plato. And to deeply paraphrase, because it has been a very long time since I had to read this book, and it was honestly a little difficult to understand to begin with. Essentially, the allegory of the cave is that there are people who are chained to a wall inside of a cave, right? Mm-hmm. They're facing the other wall. And on that wall, they see shadows of what's happening behind them. Everything from that perspective is their reality. All that these people know, because the only things that they can see are in front of them, their reality is these shadows. Whenever they see the actual things that are happening, it feels fake to them.
No.
Because their concept of reality hinges on the shadows. Everything that they know is these shadows. And so the kind of takeaway of it is that we perceive reality as we are, not what it is. And so with simulation theory, I think a lot of that is just we kind of see all of this stuff as we are, not how the things actually exist. It's all a little bit different of an experience.
Yeah.
It's all a little bit wonky.
We can only perceive that which our eyes see, what our eyes show us. If I close my eyes, there's nothing here. I'm in a cave. I'm out somewhere dark. Then I open them and I realize, oh no, I'm in my living room actually.
All right, what else you got?
I would say, last but not least, because I thought this one might be interesting, is the COVID-19 vaccine contains a 5G chip. So we're all running around with little 5G chips in it. Well, maybe not all of us. And some people are running around with little 5G chips in their bodies. Realistically, anything COVID-related is pretty funny in today's times. In 2020, it was a very serious matter. In 2025, it's questionable.
Okay.
Remember, folks, I got a tinfoil hat on. I know you can't see it, but you can hear it.
What is the basis of there being 5G chips in the COVID vaccine?
I should have done more research.
You gotta give me something. You cannot make the most out-of-pocket statement on this entire episode aside from the moon's not real.
Come up with your own assumptions. I don't know. I'm just throwing headlines out there.
Did you just clickbait me?
I clickbaited you.
Damn it.
So there's people contemplating whether or not there's a 5G chip in their brain or in their arm right now due to sicknesses that they're getting. Some people have apparently said that since they've gotten the vaccine, their phones don't operate as well as they used to, as if it's being intercepted by something else. Tinfoil hat, folks. Keep that hat right next to you. We're going to need it for this next segment. But of course, total control. I know where my people are at all times. I know what they're feeling. I know what they need.
Quick counterpoint to that. Why would we need a chip implanted into our arms for that? When was the last time you went anywhere without your phone?
Walk around the lake. That's probably it. Even then, it's dangerous. What if I get locked out?
So, why would you need a tracking chip physically in your body when we consent to having a tracker on us 24/7?
Well,
it rarely leaves most people's bedrooms when they sleep.
Well, maybe that chip does more things on the inside of our body. Maybe it monitors your health levels, or if you got any diseases coming up. Maybe the 5G chip can tell you have cancer before you know you have cancer. Maybe it causes the cancer. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, a lot of people also have smartwatches and things that also track their health.
I was trying to read up on this 5G thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I got clickbaited.
I think you got clickbaited. You're on a different side of the internet from me.
Yeah, I definitely am. What about reptiles running the U.S. government? You ever heard that one?
I have indeed.
I guess I would also tie into like skinwalkers and stuff. There's people out there who have the appearance of being a human, but they ain't human. And sometimes you see those people in politics and you go, there's not a chance in hell that man has a soul. Not saying any names.
I don't believe in a reptilian government. I don't believe in skinwalkers running the show. I think that those kind of theories pop up because it's kind of hard to square the lack of humanity in a lot of humans.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way to help us sleep at night is to believe that these people aren't genuinely evil, but they're just not people at all.
So they might not be a reptile, it's just people without an inner monologue, maybe?
It's people without souls, empathy. It is complete and utter sociopathy.
People who don't have an angel on one shoulder and the devil on another. You should do this.
Right.
Really shouldn't.
Instead, it's much easier to just say, oh, well, these people clearly can't be human. No human would make these choices.
Because they're cold.
Unfortunately, they would.
Yeah.
They do, daily.
Yeah. Sad world to be in nowadays.
It is indeed.
This is why we stay off our phones all the time, kids.
So, reptile government. Reptile dysfunction. Real or not real?
Oh, reptile dysfunction. You goofball. Aren't they all asexual? Or isn't it backwards? Isn't it the men lay the eggs and the women fertilize it?
Nope.
Fertilize it.
I think you might be thinking of seahorses.
I was thinking fish. Yeah, I think that's a fish thing. Nope. Female fishes lay the eggs and the men just shoot their junk all over it.
But male seahorses carry the babies. Equality. That's what feminism is for.
Yeah, of course.
I knew there was going to be something following that. What?
I got nothing. It was the pause. It's just like, yep. Absolutely correct. Equality. Nothing more to add on to that one. Just a whole lot of hoopla. Just kidding.
So, reptilian government, real or fake?
I'm gonna go with fake on that one because reptiles, other than Komodo dragons, don't get to be that big, and they sure as shit are not bipedal. They do not stand on two legs and walk. Well, except for that one creepy
gecko lizard.
Yeah, he bucks it. He does buck it. Well, I was thinking about the bearded dragons, the ones on holes. Those things got up on two legs.
Oh yeah,
checking at them. Mm-hmm. Poor Shia LaBeouf. Getting charged at by these bearded dragons. Those some bitches are scary. That's what nightmares are made of when you were young. Bunch of lizards chasing you down. I think there's just correlation in the sense that when we're talking about reptiles and people in government being these reptile people, it's cold-blooded. These people are just cold-blooded. They do a lot of things in terms of profit, not necessarily in the betterment of American people. I think that's why we give these people this term as being reptiles. Not alive. Not a human.
Speaking of reptile people,
yes.
My next theory is that the Denver airport is secretly the doomsday bunker for the Illuminati.
It's also one of my most favorite ones to think about.
It is also one of my favorites. I actually went to the Denver airport, did not fly in or out of Denver. Went to the Denver airport specifically because the person that I went on this trip with, we were talking about the Denver airport and the Illuminati, and specifically Blucifer. Are you familiar with Blucifer?
It's the first time I've heard it. Is this like
so Blucifer?
Blue's Clues, but in devil form?
Sure, yeah. So Blucifer, which I definitely recommend that you Google, is a gigantic blue horse statue that's outside the Denver airport.
Oh, yes, of course.
Blucifer, for some reason, has glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Blucifer killed its creator as it was being finished.
I wonder what happened.
It fell on him. It hadn't gone to the airport yet.
Oh. They just found him dead with a horse statue on top of him, and they said, yep, we're putting that in the airport.
So in 2006, while working on the sculpture in his studio, a large section of it fell on the sculptor Luis Jimenez, crushing his leg and severing an artery, which ultimately led to his death.
Damn, poor fella.
The sculpture is a 32-foot tall, bright blue Mustang with glowing red eyes.
Yeah, red eyes is an odd choice. Unless he was trying to go for like a Spider-Man kind of blue and red pattern. I'll have to look in that one tonight. I want to say I've watched a video or two about it. Just nothing really stuck.
I think we've talked about it.
We have talked about it.
Because I talked about the Denver airport a problematic amount.
Mm-hmm. So to think that that's a bunker for the Illuminati, first you have to believe in the Illuminati. Double conspiracy.
I'm not going to say Illuminati real or fake because that feels like it gets us into different territory.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is that there's a lot of very strange things about the Denver airport, and they leaned into it in a way that just honestly makes it less fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to the Denver airport, and unfortunately when I went, they were in the middle of construction, and so a lot of the airport was blocked off, but all of the little like barricades and stuff were Illuminati themed. And so it would be like, we're building some new exciting things for this airport. And then it would have like pictures of reptile people in like suits and construction hats. And it would be like, or are we building more tunnels for the secret headquarters underneath us? Okay. I don't think you're making the point that you think you are. A few quick fun little things about the Denver airport. It was built in 95. It came in way over budget. It has a series of connected tunnels underneath it. Not really sure why. And all of the artwork, or a lot of the artwork, is strange. There's a lot of things that just are weird choices for an airport.
Sure.
And there's also like a bunch of gargoyles and things around it. Whenever they originally started leaning into the conspiracy theories around them, they had I don't know, have you ever seen the videos of Crush, the sea turtle that's in Finding Nemo at Disney World, where it'll be like a screen of him and he'll be like talking to the kids?
Oh, okay. No, I've never seen that.
Okay. Well, it was basically like that. So it's an animatronic gargoyle voiced by somebody behind the scenes because there was like a camera in the gargoyle stand. And so he would just make like jokes about the airport to all of the people going through it. It's a very strange situation. There's a lot of things that are just deeply, deeply weird about the Denver airport.
Yeah, why Denver? Why would the Illuminati want it to be built in Denver? If the Illuminati exists, of course.
Because the tunnels go into the Rocky Mountains. What better place to hide during Doomsday than inside mountains?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
All right, so Denver Airport as a headquarters for some secret society in the States or in the world.
We going yay or nay on this one?
Real or fake?
You know, I think it's very similar to the episode of South Park where they did the 9/11 conspiracies. Where it's President Bush going, oh, here's all the documents that we did it all ourselves, and kinds of throws it behind it. I don't think we're smart enough to do all that stuff. But then again, I'm going to go with maybe there is a base under there, but it's not for no, it's got to be all or nothing on this one.
Mm-hmm. It's yes or no. Maybe not necessarily the Illuminati, but some kind of secret society. Maybe it's the Freemasons.
I could see that more. I think there might be a base underneath it with all this goofy stuff going on with the tunnels and everything. I just couldn't necessarily say that it was the Illuminati. Yes, maybe it's the Freemasons. Maybe it's a different society of people. Maybe it's another place for the President of the United States to hide out in. Maybe that's where the actual presidential bunker is. Far, far away from Washington, D.C. Travel to the middle of the country. Stay a little bit safer.
Sure.
Do you think that there might be Starbucks in those underground tunnels? Because I've also heard of Starbucks operating in these underground tunnels all over the place. They're called secret Starbucks. And it's pretty much just for celebrities, famous people.
I've also heard about that. How does one get hired at the secret Starbucks? Just like out of curiosity.
It's probably a 10-year thing. After 10 years, we'll give you the option. We'll send you a secret mail, handwritten, you open it, and you're like, oh my God. It's like an offer letter. I have the possibility to live downstairs. Imagine the NDAs you have to sign to work in an underground Starbucks, serving only celebrities and the 1%ers.
Do you think they make a lot more money because they work at the secret Starbucks and have to sign all of these ironclad NDAs?
No, it's the same thing here. It's just when they pull up the tip percentages, like here, it's not 5, 10, and 15%. It's like 50, 75, 100%. They just get more tips. Come on. Think Starbucks is going to pay their people more? No. Or just have the consumer tip them more, and then they make more. It's the day and age that we live in. You don't get paid from the company you work for. No, you get paid for by the people who tip you. Which brings me to my biggest grievance, tipping Colton. No, I'm just kidding. You guys already did the episode.
No.
I won't take you back.
We've already done a couple.
Yeah, you have.
It's been touched on in a few of the episodes because it's obviously near and dear to my current state.
Mm-hmm. That's how you make your money.
'Tis indeed.
Well, yeah, so I'm going to go with yes. It is an underground base. There's an underground facility underneath it. If they went way over budget, that probably means there was some stuff missing from the blueprints. Here's our $10 billion facility, and then here's our $20 billion facility. Oops, we went over budget. Sorry, guys. It's all the artwork, I promise. That horse, that costs like $5 billion alone.
Well, yeah, it's a murder horse.
It is a murder horse with red eyes. That's pretty cool.
That marks up the price.
So do you think if apocalypse ever came, we could notice it by the horse? Maybe the horse just disappears one day, and then we know, what is it, the trombone or something? The trumpets have been sounded?
The trumpet.
Yeah. The 4 horsemen are on the ride. Maybe that's just one of the 4 horses.
Lucifer being one of the 4 horsemen feels a little too on the nose.
A little bit.
But we're living in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Maybe Lucifer is the siren of the apocalypse.
Hey, you never know. You know, most people would think like, no, it's too on the nose. They would never make it the horse. But in actuality, it's like, okay, it probably is. It really is. That horse is going to come for us all. So note this, folks. If you ever see a blue horse with red eyes chasing you in the street, it's Lucifer, and your time has come. You did not make it to the sacred land.
So he's 32 feet tall. If Lucifer is coming at you, I don't think you have a lot of time to think about anything.
Run!
Also, I know that theoretically getting chased by Lucifer would be incredibly scary, but all I'm doing is picturing the episode of The Simpsons, the Treehouse of Horror, where all of the mascots come to life and Lard Lad is running wild through the streets.
Oh, yeah. That's also scary.
That's what I'm picturing, but just big ol' horse. All right, so the Denver airport is in fact a bunker for something or someone.
Is that what you're saying? Final answer?
Oh, I was asking you if that was your final answer. But yes, I do believe that it is. There's something strange going on in Denver. All right. What else you got?
I mean, it wouldn't be a conspiracy theory if we didn't talk about 9/11, right? Bum, bum, bum.
You know, I don't think I have a perspective on this one.
I'm not touching that one. It's too old. There's too much. The people who all believed in the 9/11 conspiracy when it was first happening, so say by the time I was able to utilize YouTube and stuff, I was probably, 13, 14 years old? That's probably right when YouTube came out and all these conspiracy videos. It's the same thing with Sasquatch. You meet the people who met Sasquatch, and you start to listen to them talk, and you go, oh, I get it. This person's batshit insane. Now it makes sense.
I only really like speculating when it comes to conspiracy theories or spending my time looking at conspiracy theories whenever there's not really a ton of stakes to it. If I believe the Illuminati headquarters is under the Denver airport, it's kind of harmless. If it is, if it isn't.
Sure.
In the case that, like, the dead internet theory, it can have actual, like, real life consequences and things, but generally speaking, it's pretty harmless. I think when you speculate about things that cost so many lives, it's tough to... I don't enjoy making conclusions about that.
No.
I don't like speculating as to how all these people died in a way that, like, I think true crime podcasters are tasteless, because I think that it's a get rich quick off of trauma porn kind of thing rather than you actually respecting the dead.
Yeah.
Digging up the graves, I think, is not helpful.
Sometimes you just gotta let it die. Who knows?
Look at the Titanic.
Ooh, there's a lot of people that say the Titanic didn't sink. It wasn't the Titanic, it was a different ship. But they just wanted to give it that name because it had a much better ring to it, maybe. People's lives definitely still were lost that day.
So what happened, theoretically speaking, was that there was a sister ship. The Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic, were switched before the Titanic's voyage. The Olympic had been damaged in a collision and was disguised as the Titanic and sent on the voyage to collect insurance money because they knew it was going to sink. It had had so much structural damage to it, but there was no way to, like, it was an incredibly expensive ship. There was no way to recoup their money from it. And so essentially they sent it out to sea knowing that it was going to kill all of these people. They knew exactly what was going to happen to it because it would have sunk whether or not it hit an iceberg.
That wasn't even an iceberg. That thing just left port and just sank about 30 minutes later.
There's no foundation to it because the ships were built differently.
Of course.
So like you can see in pictures of the Olympic versus pictures of the Titanic that they don't have enough of the same characteristics that you can mistake them for each other. They're not identical.
Okay.
And again, won't speculate because a lot of people lost their lives, but that one's an interesting one.
So Titanic and 9/11. Interesting stories.
A lot of speculation.
Lots of speculation, yeah. What about you? You got anything else? Any more conspiracies you want to touch on?
I have one that's not necessarily like a thing I want to do a whole deep dive on. I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in, well, not all the cryptids, but I believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe in Bigfoot in like a separate kind of like animal thing necessarily. I think that we kind of see what we want to see. So like, yeah, if you're going on a Bigfoot hunting expedition, you're going to find Bigfoot. Any bear that you see, any like weird looking animal that you see from so far away that you can't get a clear picture or a good like sight on them, you're going to think it's Bigfoot. But I believe there are some strange things happening in our forests that we don't have a good grasp on. One of which could be what has come to be known as Sasquatch.
But they could just be a different breed of hominids. They could just be us, but 100,000 years prior to what we turned into.
Correct.
They might just be going through different levels of evolution, and they grew insanely tall, strong, and hairy.
Yeah.
Kind of like me. But yes, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of people that say that Sasquatch are real, but it's 2025, and we've yet to ever get a picture that's not insanely grainy and taken from a flip phone. There's a lot of wild things out in the woods. That's all I got.
I think that's all I had too.
So what's your takeaway? How do you feel about conspiracies? What do conspiracies do for you? Do they make you smile? Do they give you a headache?
Yes.
Does it make you laugh?
There's conspiracies for so many things that there's no way it doesn't cover the entire spectrum of human emotion. There are a lot of them that I think are fascinating. Do I put stake in them? No. There's a lot of just straight up nonsense because internet people get bored. There are a lot of things that I think there's some ounce of truth to and some things that I wholeheartedly believe, if for no other reason than the fact that I just want to wholeheartedly believe them. Do I have any evidence that Bigfoot is real? No. Do I have a reason to believe that Bigfoot is real? No. I don't have a compelling reason to tell you that Bigfoot exists. Besides the fact that I just think he does, because I think it would make the world a little bit better if we had Big Fi.
Big Fi.
Which is the plural of Bigfoot, if you haven't been listening since, I believe, episode 1, maybe episode 2 of this podcast.
Big Fi.
But sometimes I like to think about conspiracy theories because I think it's just an interesting perspective on the world. I like when things aren't just cut and dry.
Of course.
I don't like conspiracy theories that seem actively malicious.
Damning to the country or damning to people, yes.
I don't like speculation about things like 9/11. I don't like speculation about things like Sandy Hook because maybe there is something more nefarious behind all of the situation. But like, I don't see a ton of merit in theorizing about tragedy. Mm-hmm. That said, I also do occasionally fall victim to theorizing about tragedies like the Amelia Earhart story, John Benet Ramsey's death, things of that nature. I try not to because it's still in poor taste, but I do occasionally fall into those boxes.
For entertainment purposes, sometimes it's fun. Because it is. It takes us out of our everyday life, which is so cut and dry, so black and white. And it gives you these little glimpses as to, well, what if this is actually what happened? Makes life fun all over again. Makes it feel fresh and new.
Sometimes it's nice to dive into the unknown, knowing that at the end of it, you'll have exactly 0 more answers than you had going in.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of merit to it, even if it doesn't, there's never a conclusion.
And on that note,
do you have any closing thoughts for us? Where do you stand on conspiracy theories?
I love them. They keep me up at night. They wake me up in the day. It is my one and only motivator to do everything I do every single... No, I'm kidding, people. It's all good.
Your one and only motivator.
You know, I love conspiracy theories. For me, I utilize them as entertainment purposes, and sometimes I just like to give people a headache. Sometimes it's fun.
Me. You like to give me a headache.
Sometimes you find someone and they think that they know exactly what they're talking about, and I go, well, what do you think about this thought? I like to give people different perspectives and how they have an outlook on life. Some people think it's very cut and dry, and I go, "Hey, Mom, maybe we didn't go to the moon." And then I get to see a 54-year-old woman's head explode as I try to explain to her that it was all fake and there was this and that. And she recalls the moment when she saw it on TV. I'm just kidding. She's not that old.
That's messed up.
Could you imagine? That's the real conspiracy. How old is old? Is old old? So yes, I just enjoy conspiracy. For me, it's pure entertainment. Instead of laying in bed and watching cooking videos or something informative, sometimes it's nice to unwind and think about Bigfoot. Think about Mothman. Think about UFOs and aliens and reptiles running the government.
I do think a lot about Bigfoot and Mothman.
Pure entertainment. It makes life go by a little bit easier.
I think that conspiracy theories are so fun for me because I like to believe that there's more things that we can't explain. I think it's a very cool facet of humanity that we seek to understand nonsense, that we are so ready to exist that, or so ready to accept that the strangest things exist solely because humans are by nature storytellers.
Yeah. These are the stories we're going to pass on for generations to come. Think about how wild the conspiracy theories are going to be 100 years from now, if, we still exist. That's the biggest conspiracy of them all. We'll save that for next time.
For next time. All right. Do you have any closing words of wisdom for our listeners?
Closing words of wisdom. Stop brainwashing yourself with hours of 10-second videos from TikToks or YouTube Shorts. And dive deeper into the conspiracies that make us smile every day. Learn about Sasquatch and the Yeti.
All right.
That's my words of wisdom.
The world is already pretty bananas. If you're going to be one of the few people that's left on the internet that's not a bot, make a conspiracy theory. Start something new. Maybe the Space Needle is actually a radio tower to our home base on Mars.
We don't talk about that one.
Oops.
That's where I'm from, girl. That's my home base.
Maybe Jack from the movie Titanic was real, and he was a time traveler. And
I can see that.
He plunged us into World War II. Plunged us into World War I, I guess. If you're gonna make a conspiracy theory, maybe disregard that last one.
Make it fun.
Make it about something fun, lighthearted. Don't speculate on the death of people.
Yeah, like turning the frogs gay. That's a fun one. We can all get a laugh about that. And on that note, chicken chow mein.
And on that note, we're out. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Bye.